Hi everybody, welcome back to Blue Balance UK. So, as always, I'm going to start with a little bit of a question. So, most importantly, how many viewers are subscribers? So, looking at the channel at the moment, it shows that about a third of you watching at the moment haven't subscribed. So, can I please ask you very quickly and very politely, please just hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button, help me grow this channel so we can maybe get out to a few more people. As you know, here at Blue Balance UK, I try and get across a few little techniques, a few little hints and tips to help people with their mental health, to help people with the coping mechanisms, or maybe bring a little bit of a jollity to my discussions, hence this shirt, because if you can't laugh about anything else, at least you can laugh about me wearing this type of shirt in my tiki hut. So, as always, I do start with a quick question. So, how many of you have been in a little bit of a dilemma? Yeah? How many of you have not known what you want to do? How many of you have got a choice to make and found it really difficult to make that choice? You know, you've got your options. You've got on this hand I can do this, on this hand I can do this. And you're confused. You're like, well, what should I do? What is the right thing to do? So that can be a really difficult question to answer at times, depending on the complexity of what it is that you're trying to decide on. Now, if it's, I'm going to have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, realistically, is that choice going to be detrimental to you in any way, shape or form? Probably not. So then what sort of decisions that we have to make? You make them every day. We don't even think about them, do you? What do I fancy? Oh, I fancy a tea today, or I fancy a coffee. I don't like coffee, so for me, the choice is simple, because I don't like tea either, so I'll have a Coke, or any other beverage that may be on offer. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by Coke. So in life, we all get hit with difficult circumstances, difficult things that lead to difficult decisions. Now, those difficult decisions can be life-changing, can't they? Let's face it, they can change your life in one way or another. So we need to be very mindful of that and mindful of how we do things. So there's loads of techniques. You'll hear it all over the place. Loads of techniques for doing things. In the police, we look at a national decision-making model where, you'll look at what the situation is, what your powers and policies are, what your tactical options are, what option is going to have the best result, that type of thing. But most people won't live like that. And you can't live like that always. You don't need to justify to other people all the time your decision. The only person really you need to justify to yourself is to yourself. Yeah? So if you're doing something that goes wrong, who are you going to blame? Are you going to blame someone else, or are you going to blame yourself? And should you put any blame on it? Because are you acting in the best faith? Are you trying to do things with the best intentions that sometimes things go wrong? Because in life they do go wrong, don't they? So one of the things you can do is ask someone else, what is your opinion? What do you think of this? Now, if they've got experience of dealing with that, it's a really good resource you can go to. But what if they don't have that experience? What if this decision you're going to be making is going to be just so focused on you, not anyone else? It's going to affect you the most. Then why would you ask someone else their opinion? Why would you ask them what they would do if they've never been in that situation? Now, most people, again, I use that term loosely because I don't know most people, but a lot of people, shall we say, are very, very scared of change. They will not want to make a decision that's going to put a change in anything, and they will dissuade you a lot of the time from doing what might actually be right for you. So say you want to start a business. Are you going to speak to your friend who's worked, like me, their entire life for somebody else? What do you think of this business idea? Oh, well, you could do it, but, what about the money? What about the income? Why are you going to ask that person their advice? They haven't been through it. They're going to straight away say to you, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And they'll give their reasons why. And generally, people can be negative. They won't see what you're seeing. If you've got this stellar idea, and I'm just using the business as an analogy, if you've got this stellar idea and you believe that you could, do this or achieve this, a lot of people won't want you to succeed, because if you're not succeeding, that validates them, that validates their life, it validates everything that they live by putting you down, by saying no, you can't achieve it. And then if you try it, it's like, yeah, told you couldn't achieve it anyway. So again, I was watching someone on YouTube a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about this major subject. This same subject about people wanting to stop working and going and working for themselves. And the easiest thing he said was, just don't tell anyone. Just crack on and do it yourself. Your co-workers, why are you going to tell your co-workers? They're only going to try and talk you out of it. They're only going to actively try and they're actually going to try and dissuade you from it. And to be honest, I've been that person before. I remember there was a lad that we worked with. He was looking at starting his own business, and I was a bit of a naysayer, to be honest. And I learned from that, listening to this person on the video, I was like, actually, that was me. That was me. Again, it was from the right place. I'm like, well, realistically, do you want to risk this, all this money that you've saved up to go into this? And, have you done your due diligence around the business model, the due diligence around, are you going to be able to make an income for it? Are you going to be able to continue doing this job while, being a partner in that job type thing, in that business? So what I've done is actually the person a disservice. Although it's coming from the right place, I've done them a disservice. So why would you listen to someone else unless they've actually been through that perspective? They've got to, if you're starting a business, whatever way it may be, and again, I'm not a businessman, but I would imagine, and, from people I know who have been businessmen, they are 100% focused on what they're doing. So, that's one thing. You can ask them if they've been through it, if they are this positive person, then speak to them about it. But if they're not, and you'll know these people, we all know them, we've all got them in our lives, we've all got them in our friendships or our family or wherever it may be, acquaintances, there will be people who are like, nah, that's never going to happen. The glass is always half empty. So if you're going to ask someone an opinion, realistically, value, what is their opinion worth? What is the weight that they're bringing? What currency do they bring to this market for you to make an informed choice? So again, making decisions, making, a choice on something should always be informed. So you've got your other one, yeah, which is done, loads of people do. You will go and get a pen and paper, right? And you will write down all the pros of one particular approach, all the cons of that approach, and then you will do the same for the other approach. Yeah, normally we've got things narrowed down to 2 or 3 options we're going to do. And it's, what are the best bits, what are the worst bits, and then you can weigh them up. And you can do a empirical, if you like, empirically data-led decision on something. Yeah, I've looked at this, and the pro of doing this is X, Y, Z. The con of doing it is X, Y, Z. The same with, not doing it. So you can look at them ways. Again, a very good option to do. And if it's just a purely statistical, numbers-based, money-based things, a really good way to do it. But we make decisions on emotions, don't we? A lot of the time we'll make an emotional decision to see what we want to do or what we should be doing. So for that one's really, the one that I live by most is listening to that inner voice, your higher power. Yeah, there's lots of terms for it, whether it's coming internally or externally. If it's from, say, I'm a Christian man, so I believe that my choices are very much guided by my conscience, where I will pray on it a lot of the time. Other people will talk about an inner power, other people talk about the universe, whatever way it comes from. We all are born with an innate ability to know the difference between right and wrong. What we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. And we don't always listen to that. How many times have you done something in your life and you've gone, I knew that was going to be a bad idea, and you did it anyway? Why? Why? You know it's a bad idea. You don't even have a decision making. I know that's a bad idea. I remember many years ago going out with my friends, having a lot to drink. And I knew it was a bad idea. And we ended up getting into quite a bad altercation where I ended up getting glassed in the face, stitches in my hand. You know, lucky really to be alive with where the glass came into my face, well before me joining the police. But I knew in my heart that night not to go out. I knew I shouldn't be going out. But I went out anyway, and then the bad things happen. And how many times have you had that? It could be something really silly, you know. I don't know. I shouldn't have had that extra pint because I knew I was going to be ill, or, you know, that smelt a bit iffy. I shouldn't have eaten that. Now I've got a dodgy stomach. You know, using very, very silly analogies for that. But it's so true. You know, you knew it was a bad idea. You were, everything in your fibre of your being is telling you it's a bad idea. If that's happening, don't do it. It's a bad idea. You know, that's no secret in life. Now, there's one way that I always use. I think it works really well because, again, instinctively, you know what's right and what you should be doing. Now, you might have whatever decision it is, whatever dilemma you're in, you'd normally do narrow it down to two decisions. Yeah, not the shall I, shan't I, but am I go this way or will I go this way? What way should I go? What decision should I make? What is going to be the best? And I've always put it down to the coin test. A really simple one. Now, this is not chance. This is not going, right, well, I'm going to throw a dice, like you see people, and I'm just going to follow the actions, because you're then putting that power into somebody else. Yeah? And you can have bad actors, whatever they mean. And again, to go back to the spiritual side, if you believe in that, you know, you can have bad intention being directed towards you in order to do something. You know, sometimes you speak to other people and they will direct you completely wrong. How many times have you asked for direction, someone thinks it's funny to send you around in circles? You know, and that can almost be the same in the universe. You're asking someone else for your opinion. Yeah. But the coin test is not that. It's well, I'd say intrinsically ingrained in us, the idea. So for me, if I had, shall I do this or shall I do this? And I'm not sure, and the little voices are like not quite right there, or I don't want to listen to the inner voice, then I'd pick up a coin and I'd flip the coin. Heads this one, tails that one. Don't matter which one you're going to use. If that coin lands and you feel settled and you're like, actually, yeah, okay, cool, it said that, that's it, I'm going to do it. The moment you start going, oh, best out of 3, best out of 5, best out of 7, you know what your decision's going to be. Because if it's landed on heads, which is a yes, I'm going to do it, and the tails is no, I'm not going to do it, I'm going to do something else, and it lands on that head, yes, and you're like, okay, let's go best of 3. You're then looking for the tails, aren't you? You're looking for that other option. So take that on board. That is the other option that you should be doing. It's, you know, it's such a simple thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I've done it before now where I've gone balanced probabilities. Before I've even started, I'll go best of 3 or best of 5, because then I'm going to get the true answer for me. And you can do the same. But if you're then moving the goalpost after you've made that decision, that then shows that, you know, maybe it's not the right decision for you, or, you know, the action that you were going to be taking is not the one you want to really do, and you already know what you want to do, and then you can do it comfortably, I say, you know. And always go into a decision, always think of that inner voice, that coin test, you know, and think to yourself, you know what, if it does go wrong, then at least I've tried my best. And you can hold your head up high. What do they say? It's better to regret the things you've done than the things you haven't done. And, you know, remember that we're all human and that we all make mistakes at times. Well, I've gone off on a slight tangent now. Again, I hope that's helped in some small way. I use that test all the time. Shall I do it? Shall I not? There's another really easy one way that I live my life by, and that's listen to the wife. She always tells me what to do, and she's normally right, to be fair. But again, anyway, thank you very much for viewing this video. If you've stayed to the end, again, thank you for your time, the most important thing that we have. And please like, subscribe. As I said earlier, about 30% of the viewers of this or the previous videos have not been subscribers, so please like and subscribe. That way I can grow this channel and maybe get a bit more reach out to more people. You know, these algorithms, I have no idea what an algorithm is within YouTube, but apparently it helps towards that. So again, God bless everyone. Take care. Please make comments in the comments section. If there's anything you'd like me to cover, any topics you would like, please put them in there. I do have a little notebook with loads of different ones in, so there should be lots more videos coming out in due course. And I'll try to not wear a Larry shirt next time. Well, I won't make any promises because I probably will. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye bye.